Hey, folks, look at this. Ask Annette returns. I am Kory. That is Annette Dion. She is the Bridges resident psychic and tarot card reader, and we are back for a special holiday edition of Ask Annette. What's going on, Dion?
It's my birthday. So I'm on. I'm only saying this because I, definitely will nail it today. I hope you're doing great.
I am, and happy birthday to you. It's
Thank
missed you.
29 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed you. Things get in the way, and
yeah. It's the holiday craze, but
yeah.
you'll be good to know, Annette, that we asked folks beforehand if they want to submit a question about 2021 and what's going to happen. So we have a ton to get to. We're on a short leash today, so we got to get to these soon. But I want to tell everyone out there that Annette and I are looking to make a big announcement sooner than later. It depends on whether you want Ask Annette here on the bridge, and if you want perhaps a special event to occur before the year is over. So let us know what you're thinking about that. If you'd love to be a part of it, and Annette and I will work on something behind the Zoom. So there is.
How about a virtual psychic reading ball?
There you go.
We could have like a disco ball. We could have like everyone dress up.
Yeah, I could put one of those over here, I would think.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Cocktails at home. Pop our champagne at midnight. I love that idea.
Yeah. Now, before Annette gets to the questions today, we want to say that obviously 2020 is when we started Asking Annette, and it was dominated by two big things, of course, COVID and the presidential election. Annette and I talk a lot off camera, and we knew that it wasn't going to be easy for her to answer political questions. I mean, those are always tough because you don't want to upset half the crowd and please half and vice versa. It was a weird year. And obviously coronavirus was so weird and wacky. And we kind of feel like we're back where we were 6 months ago and who knows what's going on. So yeah, it was an odd year, but we want to thank all of you for submitting your questions. We're going to get right to them, starting with this, Annette. Ready?
I am.
When will the vaccine be made available to everybody?
By the fall of next year.
Whoa.
You mean do you think that question means like everybody in the country or the world?
Well, we could start here, I would imagine. Start here.
Okay, so as far as everybody in the country, I feel it rolling out. Like I feel a big amount rolling out in February, March. It's not going to cover everyone. That's going to cover like the essential workers and some of the like nursing homes and that kind of thing. I want to say I do want to mention, this came to mind today, that last April, May, during one of our shows, I said they're going to roll out a vaccine, but because the United States has been so, I don't know, like crazy, that we wouldn't be the first to get the vaccine. I don't know if you remember that. I said they're going to roll out the vaccine if we go back to the videos, but we're not going to get it. And we didn't. Who's the company? Is it Moderna? Who?
That's one of them.
Or Pfizer, the one in England right now.
Moderna.
Yeah, I got that they weren't going to give it to us. They'd be like, nah, you guys are jerks. Serves you right for being so stupid and not wearing a mask, but I do see like February, March, we will get a big dose. And then you heard about, I call him he who shall not be named. He messed that up because we could have gotten more vaccines. So that's when I remembered that I had said that. I don't know if you heard the news, but there was an opportunity for the White House to order more vaccines and they didn't order enough. So that's another thing that's going on with the vaccine. This has been the biggest mess possible. It shouldn't have been this way. So the vaccine, as far as people, like when you bump into someone on the street and you're talking, did you get the vaccine? That's going to be like September, October.
Whoa. All right.
I mean, it's not that you won't hear about people getting the vaccine before then, because you will. But as far as being commonplace, that's not till late in the next year.
I can tell you December 15th is a big date here. That's when I know it at least reaches health workers here in Cape Ann.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, because you've been talking to people.
Yep.
That's just
I know a
next
guy who
week.
knows a guy. All right. So what do you want to do for
Talk
this?
really fast.
Are we done with that question?
Yeah, we're gonna talk really fast.
Yeah, well, we're under the gun, folks. All right, question number 2. I like this one. Annette, will there be St. Peter's Fiesta in 2021?
A very I don't see it being skipped entirely, but it's gonna be a very smaller version. Almost like this is what I get. We talk about this all the time. My mother grew up down the fort. My mother grew up with the Fiesta. She was born on the fort. So it's big in my family in terms of, celebrating every year. And she would tell me about when there was this guy from the north end of Boston who was an architect that came in. You probably know this, and built these humongous churches.
Yep.
So, and there was no carnival. There was no nothing. It was really strictly a religious celebration because this community was full of fishermen. Like everybody went fishing. So I feel like, and my mom would say that they had like this little storefront. I think it was right at the end of Beach Court on Commercial Street by where the chamber used to be.
Yep.
And they used to have like the altar set up there, not where it is now on Roger Street.
Right. Yeah, against the house right there by Tally's on that side.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yep. So it was like the women would literally sit in the street. There were less cars then. And they would pray to St. Peter. And then they would eat Italian cookies and, lots of lasagna and stuff. So I feel like there's going to be a smaller version of the Fiesta. It's going to be hard to keep people out of Cape Ann. I mean, we saw that this past summer, which I thought that COVID would discourage people, but it didn't. I mean, logically, I thought it would discourage people. I don't think it's going to be easy for them to pare it down. But I do see a smaller version because COVID's not going to be gone.
Right.
I know people are, I don't want to hear that question anymore. When are we going back to normal? We're not.
No.
It's not happening. Do I want to pick a card about that? Let's do that.
And this is a new deck of tarot cards, we should point out.
Yeah. Let me use those. I'll use both. So let's ask St. Peter. I'm going to channel St. Peter.
Viva!
I feel like St. Peter's communicating. Let's conjure him up. Viva St. Pedro! Magi sama tutti mote! Viva St. Pedro! That's how we conjure up St. Peter. It's a new thing. I just invented it. A way of conjuring him up. Okay, so this is what I'm getting. It's going to have more meaning. And this is, honestly, I'm going to try to be brief about this. In the Bible where it says God sent the flood,
Oh yeah, my favorite part.
Noah built an ark. Why did he do that? Why did he send the plagues and the locusts and all these different horrible things?
Was it a test?
Because he was pissed.
Oh.
This was a test. Because people got mean and greedy and they weren't focused on loving each other and helping each other. And God just had enough. And went, there, take that. So I'm really getting this vibe that, if St. Peter came down from heaven, he'd be saying, cut out the carnival. It's not about making money. It's about, praising the higher power. So let's see what we get.
Not everyone can be like me and you, Annette.
What's that?
Not everyone can be like me and you.
I know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? I got the Strength card. So that's an interesting card to get in response to this question. It's like, the Fiesta will go on. Nothing will kill the Fiesta. We are Fiesta strong. You might even see bands that say Fiesta strong. Because this is the strength card.
I think it's happening.
Yeah, that's the Strength card. That's an affirmative. I see them trying to pare it down. Because I don't see us not wearing masks. I think there'll be a little bit less, but I don't see us not wearing masks. Not till 2022. It's hard to even imagine that. 2022. I told you a while back that when I asked the guides when we'd be looking at this as like a thing of the past, it won't be until 2024.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long time. So everyone be patient. But this, honestly, I really feel like this is a test, like you just said, to see if we can really get down to brass tacks and start helping each other. Because people don't support each other anymore, and it's really, we got to change that. We need to support and empower and uplift people. And here I go preaching. I started a church, you know. We must love each other. I have a virtual church. I just started last week.
I know you did.
Sunday. If anyone wants to join, it's Sunday at 3 to 4.
We have it. And you can contact Annette at Annette7.
Annette Dion 7.
Annette Dion 7 at gmail.com.
Yeah,
we'll have up there on the screen for you. All right, Annette, we got to get to these questions, kid.
I know. We'll have to do a longer show sometime.
Our next one asks, what medical breakthroughs will we hear about in 2021?
As soon as you asked that question, I got something about immunity. Of something that's going to boost people's immunity. I had seen this before too. And it just feels like it's centered around something specific. Well, you know, we might see a medical breakthrough where, you know, like, for example, maybe there's not like enough vaccine, or, you know, God forbid, there's some adverse effects from the vaccine. I'm seeing some kind of a breakthrough where people will be able to boost their immune system with some kind of a supplement. I had mentioned that before. Did I tell you about neem leaf, NEEM?
No.
It's a leaf from India. If you get it, if you take neem leaf, it really boosts your immune system. But you're talking about medical breakthrough. There's a lot that's going to happen with like DNA, and the guys are saying the DNA about making people not get things that they're predisposed to. I don't know what that's going to look like exactly.
Interesting.
The high priest is coming up on that one, and that means that there is a breakthrough. And then by the end of 2021, going into 2022, we will see something that is, it almost looks like a surefire way to stop COVID. It won't be gone entirely, but I feel like something is going to eradicate it. It is a virus, which is like the common cold, so it's very contagious. But and it can mutate. That's the danger of COVID. But I feel like there's going to be something that's going to be like the big guns coming out. Did you see Jimmy Fallon's thing about the year 2020?
I haven't yet. No.
It's Jimmy Fallon, and he's doing a musical. I don't know who the other guy is. He's an actor, and they're doing a musical about 2020. It's hilarious.
You watch a lot of Jimmy Fallon.
I know. I love late night. You probably do too.
Jimmy Fallon's had more appearances on this show than the High Priestess card. That's the truth.
True. But he's very talented. So the high priest means we will get a handle on something pretty major. But it feels like COVID. It feels like it's going to be, you know, like COVID, like somebody kept saying over and over. COVID. Yeah, we're all tired of hearing about it. We gotta talk about it.
All right, great stuff. Thanks for the question. We have another one, Annette. What will we learn about life on other planets in 2021?
That we're being visited.
Whoa.
That sounds like they're asking about what we're going to find out about what life is on other planets, but we are being visited. And I feel like there's the guides are showing me in North Korea, there's some danger. We know that anyway, but I'm just, you know, the aliens, a lot of people, you know, psychics and channelers have seen, and actually there's actually been spaceships that have shown up over like nuclear, like Chernobyl, you know, nuclear accidents. There's actually been sightings of UFOs. I feel like there's some different kinds of aliens, but I feel like we've been visited, and that they have an intelligence, and they are making sure we don't do anything stupid. And a lot of our technology is downloads from the ETs. I mean, what? Think about it. It's gotta be. Look at what we're doing here. Let me pick a card.
Sure.
So I'm picking up more like it's going to be more conversation about alien visitation, ET visitation, and sightings than it will be about what we've discovered on other planets. Because it's going to be cheaper to just let them come here. Right? We're not have to spend all that money on NASA. If they just come here, we don't have to spend the money on air travel.
This is true. Cheap air flights.
Yeah. The 8 of Wands. Oh, this card is always means something's going to happen really soon. I think we're going to hear something really soon. Actually, this brings to mind too. On December 21st, what's going on astrologically? Oh, well, that's the winter solstice. Jupiter and Saturn come together.
The Christmas star?
It's going to be the North Star. It's going to be, they haven't seen it since 1224. I hope it's nice out so we can see it. So yeah, astrologically, there's a lot that's going on. But as far as the life on other planets, yeah, there's going to be a lot of celestial stuff happening. Like we're all going to be looking at the sky.
I agree.
Look up my astronomy. There's just going to be a lot happening. It's very significant that we're going to see the star of the east. I don't know if it'll be in the east, but like the 3 wise men followed the star.
Yeah,
I think that's wicked cool.
Great stuff and a cool question. All right, moving on, Annette, will we have a white Christmas on Cape Ann this year?
I don't think so. Weather's like calling the Super Bowl. There's so many variables. It's a little tricky. Are we gonna have a white Christmas?
Got the pendulum out.
Doesn't look like it. Let me pick a card about that.
Sure.
I see a lot of green.
Yep.
I see. This is the Page of Pentacles, and yeah, it looks like we might even have a warm spell. That's happened before.
Every December, we always get a couple days in the 70s out of nowhere. I don't know if that's going to happen, but
I wouldn't be surprised. You go by Good Harbor Beach, and it's like packed with people. Yeah, I think we're going to have a little bit of a warm spell. It's been pretty chilly, but it's not. Winter's not like they used to be. That's for sure.
Oh, you're right about that.
And it happened fast. It's not like,
All right, Annette. We have about 10 minutes left. We want to get
I'm going as fast as I can.
You're killing it. You're crushing it right now. Do we want to get into any of the political questions we've gotten?
Well, I have the Psychic News Network.
Yep.
So I'm used to political questions. That's fine. I haven't done a lot lately since the election, which I did call for Joe Biden. People were so freaked out. It was a public service, honestly.
I will say this, because I was skeptical. You called for Biden, and you also called for Kamala Harris to be the VP months before.
I just kept seeing it. When I asked, I just kept getting the letter K. So
yeah.
So I was getting mixed up. Was it Klobuchar or Kamala? But it came up really strong as Kamala. That was the best pick possible. We've got so much experience going in on January 20th. Whatever way you go, politically, you got to say that people with experience is what we need right now. We're in so many crises in this country. This is an historic time, not in a great way. I mean, there are good things happening, but it's just like we're living through, we lived through the millennia, like the year 2000 happening, Y2K, 9/11, and now this is a huge. This is bigger than the Spanish flu of 1918. This is and our economy is going to take a huge hit, and we have to rebuild everything. So having Biden in the White House with 45 years experience, to me, that's the angels looking out for us. Because we dodged a bullet there. Scary stuff.
Very interesting.
Anyway, maybe politics gets too serious.
Well, you want to do one quick one?
Yeah.
Republicans in Georgia, are they going to win?
I asked about that today, and I got one would win and one wouldn't win, which upset me. So I try not to give my personal opinions. Once again, there's a lot of variables. The the voter suppression is alive and well in Georgia. But that's Stacey Abrams. It's her birthday today too, by the way. Stacey Abrams. She's done such a great job, and I feel like she's going to pull through with getting the young voters out. I see a really tug of war between Loeffler and is it Warnock? Is that how you say his last name?
I think so. I don't follow too closely.
Well, people know who I mean. There's something underhanded going on there, but I think Ossoff is going to get in. Yeah, I get yes on Ossoff. And how about Democrat? The African American guy. I just feel like that's going to be a struggle. So I'm getting half and half. So we got a lot of work to do in this country. Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is like there's somebody's paying someone off behind the scenes, because I think both Democrats are slated to win, but I'm seeing some kind of controversy with one, and I think it's the Loeffler and the whatever that guy's name is. Starts with a W.
Well, there you have it. Hope that answers your question out there. We want to thank everyone for their questions. Okay, before we get to the bridge question and the community card, we've got about 5 minutes here. We did have a couple other questions, your usual Ask Annette questions. If we want to
personal.
Yep. You want to try a couple?
Well, this is more about 2021.
It is. Yeah. They have to do with
personal ones. If they want me to answer a personal question, they should call me for a reading.
That's a good idea. What's your number again?
978-239-3586.
There you go. Or you can email Annette right here. You see the address below. Annette Dion7@gmail.com. That'll work as well. And like we alluded to in the beginning of this broadcast, Annette and I, we have big plans now. We might do some sort of bigger event. If you want that to happen, we can make that happen. We'll keep talking about that. Maybe something right around New Year's. So stay tuned for that. Okay, now we like to end each show with a bridge question. Then I think we should end with a community card and look out for all of 2021 for the community. But first of all, a question from the bridge. Annette, in 2021, will the bridge expand, contract, or stay the same? And I mean the business.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Wait, give me the choices again.
Well, I gave you 3 choices. Will the bridge expand, contract, or stay the same?
So that's really broad. Do you mean?
Will the business itself grow or not grow?
Well, it could grow, but do you mean more? You mean more money, right?
It could grow in several different ways. Or am I just sort of maintaining? Or do I pull back?
This is a tricky question. Let me tell you why. Because I tell you this all the time. It's really important to recognize that we are participating in whatever we're manifesting, right? So it's hard for me not to say, what do you think is going to happen, or what do you want to happen? In other words, like whatever you're putting your energy into more. But I understand your question. I'll pull a card. If you're focused on it expanding, it will expand. I don't think it's going to contract. I do see that there's oh gosh, Kory, the guides are showing me that there's some kind of a block. Some kind of a block. And so stay the same. It's kind of like expand and stay the same, but if you want to tweak that a little bit, there are ways that you can not stay the same in terms of growing. But the one I'm saying, I'm trying to interpret this. It's like the stay the same vibe is there for you. You know what I mean? You tend to get really like, oh, the stay the same works. The tried and true works, right? And we always do want to stay with what works. It's kind of like our base. And that would be fine, right?
Yeah.
But is that good enough?
Right. Is there room for improvement or growth somewhere?
There is. Just get out of your comfort zone, basically. I don't mean you. I mean the business, the idea of the business.
Yep.
Push the business idea out of its comfort zone. The Knight of Cups is saying you have something really to offer that's pretty huge. And you might not be seeing it. No, you do have something to offer that's great. The community needs this. Where I always tell you this. You don't know what kind of service you're offering to the community. I feel like the guides are showing me there's a lot of creative ideas you could do. And we were talking earlier before we started. And I think it would be helpful to you to check in with the psychic on your business questions.
And any small business or any business owner out there can do the same with
any business, because I get hits all the time about what would work and what might not work so well.
Very cool.
And for you, I keep getting something about memberships. Well, I know you already have memberships, but I'm getting the word membership, so I know you already have Bridge Buddy, so it might be a different kind of membership. It's maybe a different level of membership. Getting different kind of clientele too in terms of business owners.
Interesting.
Yeah, but definitely we should collaborate.
Yeah, I will take that to heart, and we will follow up on that.
We're gonna get together on the New Year's Eve party, right?
Now you just gave it away.
We said the end of the year, right? Didn't we say the end of the year? I said a bridge ball where you have your drinks. I kind of alluded to it.
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, we're working on it, folks.
I think they could figure it out.
All right, in our final moments of Ask Annette in this What Will Happen in 2021 edition, we want to end the show with how we normally start the show, which is with a community card. So here's where Annette pulls a card to help tell one story for the community at large.
Okay.
Do your thing, lock in with the guides, and let her rip for 2021.
We're locked in. I see a lot of fighting. Oh dear. I see a lot of angry people. I know it's not good news. I see a lot of people in Cape Ann being really angry. What do you think that is?
I hope it has nothing to do with the bridge or Fiesta.
You mean not the bridge, so your business. No, it feels like people are feeling like they're not being listened to in the community this coming year. It feels like people are going to be angry because they're going to feel like they're being stonewalled. And I'm getting traffic. I feel like the traffic is going to be a big, giant issue. I see, geez, that's weird, isn't it?
Well, you have two big things in that, right? You have a transition of power and coronavirus.
A transition of power, you mean on the federal level?
Mm-hmm.
The guides keep saying traffic. Sums up with the traffic. When's the next mayoral election?
It's next fall.
I'm seeing a change in the guards there. Oops.
Oh boy.
Oops. Nothing against Sabathia or anything. I just, I know Pia changes. I don't know how long she's been in. 8 years?
I think so. 6 or 8.
It changes eventually. And this could just be somebody else in a position, a high position.
Yep. That,
it could be like Charlie Baker even. But I feel like there's some, just in terms of what's going on the island. I do feel like there's energy of the state having to take over certain things. And that could be the traffic issue.
Whoa.
But the Knight of Swords, there's going to be definitely a male coming in, charging in, changing things up so they work better. There's been some things that have fallen by the wayside that they can't, it feels like infrastructure related, that they can't just not put off anymore. And I feel somebody in a leadership role, it could be the governor. Coming in and just it's like, all right, everybody out of the way. We need to handle this. It's kind of big, but it will pave the way for new beginnings, and it might have something to do too. I just want to mention with bad weather and flooding.
Oh,
because I'm thinking roads, traffic issues. The water's coming right up to the roads now, and infrastructure. I feel like it's going to be a tough year for Cape Ann, but what is it? It'll make us stronger. We did get that strength card. We have to just keep praying to St. Peter.
There you have it, folks. I thought you might be alluding to the railroads and the train situation, which is all over the place right now, There might not be train service here on the weekends.
That could be the traffic. That could lead to more traffic.
Yep, for sure.
I'm just seeing gridlock. I'm seeing, people just like, what that's going on? People get mad around here. It's not pretty.
They do.
We don't hold back. It's healthier, right? No holding back.
All right, folks, that concludes this edition of Ask Annette. Thanks for all of your questions. Let us know if you want us to do another show before the year ends. We might have a big party and an event featured around that. So stay tuned here. Leave your comments if you have questions for Annette. And you can always, of course, that's why we're here, you can always book an appointment with Annette Dion. She gave out her number. We'll have that there too. There's her email address. And away you go.
What? I have, can you see that? It's a gift certificate.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of glary. Yeah. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I'm selling these through Saturday. Well, I'll just say through Sunday too. Buy 3, get 1 free. These are certificates for 15-minute readings. Mm-hmm. But if you buy 3, you get 1 free, so you can have your own reading too. And I can mail it to you. It's easy. That's it.
Annette Dion 7@gmail.com. Annette, happy holidays, kiddo.
Thank you.
I will be in touch and see you soon.
Yeah. Have a good interview.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to Ask Annette. I am with Sidekick Annette Dion. We are in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and Annette is going to give us predictions for 2021. How you doing, Annette?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great, and I'm ready to get 2020 behind me.
I know, so are so many people, almost like they are looking at it like it's a magic wand and they just wave it. And then sometime between like Thursday and Friday, everything's going to change and we're going to go into an alternate universe. That's what people are thinking.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are a lot of questions to be answered now. And of course, this time of year and the full moon we want to mention is a real thing going on right now.
Yes. It's technically, it hits tomorrow afternoon. I think afternoon or evening. But the little time before and a little time after the full moon, you're still feeling the full moon. Mm-hmm. And it looks just like that moon behind you tonight.
That's right. Yeah.
That's amazing. How did you get that moon just to stick there like that?
It's amazing. Follows me everywhere.
So it's incredible. So the full moon is technically the 29th, and it's in the sign of Cancer, and the United States is in the sign of Cancer because that's when the Constitution was, the Declaration of Independence was established. And July 4th is the sign of the sun is in Cancer at that time. And, people might think, oh, the founding fathers didn't know anything about that stuff. But the truth of the matter is they really did. They really did plan things around astrology, because you have to remember back then, they didn't have all these other sources of information, much like a captain of a ship didn't have all these navigational tools. So they relied more on the natural, vibrations of the earth. So the full moon is in the sign of Cancer. It's this feels like it's about coming back to family, coming back to taking care of family, coming back to our roots, kind of a feeling. So people, where a lot of people are staying home, obviously because of COVID, hardly anything is open. It's a really good time to be with family. I mean, I know around New Year's Eve, it's going to switch to the sign of Leo, but for the most part, the next few days are in the sign of Cancer. So it is a time to really focus on family, making memories, toasting with your relatives, even if it's over Zoom.
Right.
So it's going to be, everything has great intensity. I'm holding a workshop to make vision boards virtually on that tomorrow night. So it's a really great time to plan, especially what you want for your home life to be like during this full moon. It's a good time to plan for that kind of thing. So that's Cancer. Mm-hmm. Anyway, did you have something you want to ask about 2021?
Well, do you have things you want to touch upon?
Oh, absolutely. There's always stuff that comes up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do that? Then I can ask some more specific questions towards the end.
Yeah, just if something comes to your mind, feel free to just ask.
Sure.
So always every year, 2-3 weeks before the new year, I start to get hits on what's coming. And of course, that's when people ask. So about a week ago, somebody asked what I saw for 2021. And I said, I had gone for a walk and the guides kept showing me explosions. And I was like, no, please. I don't want to see explosions. And sure enough, what happened?
Nashville, for one.
And that, believe it or not, I don't know if you know this, but I lived in Nashville for 11 years. And I actually got my start as a psychic on 2nd Avenue, right where that RV was parked and blew up. So I guess, I had fair warning. I didn't get that it was going to be Nashville. So I did feel like there would be explosions. That's not the only one. I don't want to scare people. I just want to say, be ready. I asked the guides what the source of the explosions will be, and I didn't get a clear answer. I just kept seeing fiery balls, just, things blowing up. My sense is that it is domestic terrorism, and that we're going to see a string of them, and it's going to be, scary. But, desperation is the mother of invention. And from that, we will get on top of things as a country. We'll get on top of the domestic terrorism, the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, whoever investigates all that stuff. They will get on it. And you can see that they did that in Nashville already. Every time I check the news, it's like they know more and more and more. So I do see that kind of thing, but I do see us getting a handle on it. I did actually take some notes, so I want to hit on, what I had picked up on. So one was the explosions. I feel like Donald Trump will leave office with a lot of drama, and we're already seeing that. And that's not like, you don't need to be a psychic to predict that. I feel like when he leaves, he's going to have to vent his anger and frustration in some way. He can't just let it sit there. He always seems to have to, express and be in the limelight in some way. So I feel him forming sort of not an alternate government, but an organization that is really based in, the guides are showing me like the Newsmax and the OAN and, like the very, very far, conspiracy theory. I don't even want to say far right because it's just kind of like directionless. But they're going to continue to live in an alternative news universe. And that's going to be something that we have to kind of always, it's like an annoyance. It's like, it's just like a mosquito, Hopefully it'll just be that small, but it's going to feel like, oh my gosh, they're out there. Just like terrorism. If you live in a country that unfortunately is, racked with terrorists, it's not going to be as bad as some unfortunate places in the world, but we're going to start to see this sort of thing happening. So a lot of conspiracy theories will continue, and he's going to spearhead that. But then I see a huge health issue come up for him. And this is looking like around, could be, the time is a little hard to predict for a psychic, but it looks like it's around his birthday, which is in June. He's a Gemini. The moon is in Gemini right now, so I think I'm onto something here. I feel like around his birthday, he's going to have a major health issue. The guides are saying stroke. At that point, I feel like his influence is just it's gonna fade away. A lot of the people that have been following him, unfortunately, are going to die from COVID. I hate to say that, but it's just, that's science too, because they tend to not be the mask wearers or take it seriously or call it a hoax. So anyway, election day, I do see him doing some kind of a rally sort of a thing, like he said. So we're not gonna see him like hide away during that. I mean, the inauguration. I don't mean election day. During the inauguration, he's going to be in the limelight in some way. So because he's not going to carry this powerful office anymore, and he will be out of there. His ego, his malignant narcissism is going to make him need to make a splash because he doesn't know what to be. He needs the attention. So it's going to be negative attention. He's going to be very invested in, keeping himself in the limelight. a lot of people probably want to know if he's going to go to jail, and that is something that I do see a lot of court, but I do see him, you know, he's born under some kind of a lucky star, because I see him getting away with a lot. So it could be a self-pardoning kind of a thing. The Constitution will be revamped big time. You have any questions about any of that? Because it's a lot.
Well, that's a lot. I think my question would be, what are there any final lessons that we've learned from 2020?
Absolutely. I did a reading several months ago, I think it was pre-COVID, about why he became president. First of all, it was cheating that got him in. It was the Russians that got him. It was Vladimir Putin that got him in. This channel is for entertainment purposes only and based on my opinion. There's our disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this country had become so corrupt, and this was kind of the pinnacle, that people were so busy doing their lives that they knew the government was grossly corrupt, but they didn't have time to pay attention. And Donald Trump is a blessing in disguise, and I know people are going to think that I'm crazy for saying that, but there are so many things that have changed in the world so quickly, and we needed to get on top of things, and we needed to get on top of our Constitution being outdated. And, you know, the amendments, we need more amendments. We need to revamp the whole system. And he showed us all the places where somebody who is not well, not mentally well, can corrupt the whole entire system. And he's corrupted every single system. Everything that we have in place, he has blown it up in some way. So I want to just mention that a year ago, it was actually my vision board workshop for 2020. There was somebody in that workshop that said that she heard a psychic or somebody say that she saw a vision of Donald Trump, and it was like his face was like a mask, and the mask being pulled off, and it was an angel. And I was like, that's ridiculous. I didn't say it. I just thought that's crazy. But now I'm starting to see what that might have meant. Was like he came in to show us how vulnerable we are. Now we've gotten more vulnerable under his so-called leadership. We've gotten more vulnerable, but we had to see where we were vulnerable, and we got to see it. And we are kind of fortunate. Well, two things. We're fortunate. I know this is going to sound like crazy. Before COVID hit, he was on his way to win. If COVID hadn't hit, he would have won this past election, and he didn't. So that was one of the reasons that COVID happened. And the reason that he happened was because America can't make it in the world with things being the way that they are in our government. So his purpose was actually to wake this country up. And boy, we're awake now, because I haven't paid so much attention to politics in my entire life. And we had total record numbers of people voting, that people, it was just like, you know, eye-opening. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe so many people are involved now. And this next generation of, say, 19 to 23-year-old, that is particularly that generation, they are not going to stand for what they've been subjected to anymore. This is going to it's because it's been right in your face. So COVID happened for many reasons, like, psychically, I can pick up many reasons why it happened. But one was to get him out of office, because he is the most dangerous. He's the most dangerous man on the planet right now. And that includes Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump is more dangerous than the dictator of North Korea right now. During this time, between now and January 5th or 6th, I think it is, the 6th, during this time, we have to really be very intentional that we want to keep this country safe. And people might not realize how powerful their thoughts are, but collectively right now we need to think about the United States in a big protective bubble, because there's some not good stuff going on from the rest of the world. So, God bless America. May we be well, may we be safe. There is a lot of global warming related, climate change related disasters heading our way. I feel like I'm saying all this bad news. We'll do the bad news first.
Okay.
Parts of coastal Louisiana, Florida, and Texas will become uninhabitable. The coastal areas. Now, you might think it doesn't take a psychic to say that, but I'm just saying this is what I pick up. I feel like I just see huge waves, huge waves, huge waves. And we're on the coast too, and we're not going to go like untouched by this global climate change. But what's going to happen is it's going to start with Florida and Louisiana, and then I see Texas. I mean, just underwater. Places are going to start to go underwater. At the same time, we're going to be trying to, like the Biden administration is going to get all the geniuses and scientists on top of it and see if there's something that we can do. But, eventually it's going to be floating cities. Not in the near future, but down the road, we're going to have like people actually living on floating cities. So I feel like this is going to be like around August when we start to see these. It's going to start happening gradually, but there'll be areas of, especially like Florida, like the West Coast is going to get inundated. So the COVID will not go away. It's going to be very stubborn. It's going to be like trying to cure the common cold. It's going to mutate. We will be dealing with this. I told you this before in a video. We'll be dealing with it until 2024. The reason this is happening is because this is part of the reason it's happening, because the animal and plant habitats have been so ravaged and so destroyed that the viruses that were always passed from like a bat to a bat, for instance, living in, I don't know where they live, in caves or wherever bats live, caves, jungles. So they lose their habitat, right? So they're not going, bat virus to other bats. The bats aren't passing their viruses to each other. It kind of jumps species. And what's more plentiful with 7.5 billion people on the planet? What's more plentiful is people. Because we've, in the past 70 years, wiped out 1 million plant and animal species in 70 years that had been here for millions of years. So COVID, this pandemic will continue. We're heading for something that's worse than the Great Depression. We will make it through. We will recognize that the only way that we can make it through is by helping each other. You're going to see a lot of people in group living situations because of the economy, because people are going to have a hard time paying their mortgage. But if they get a renter, then it's easier for them. And people that are just kind of, in between things are going to need to hang their hat somewhere. I do see a lot of evictions. I do see a lot of businesses just going down. But the Biden administration is going to, they will be at least working on solutions. So it's not going to last forever. It's not going to be like the past 4 years, no help whatsoever. So there's that. We will run out of vaccinations repeatedly. There's just not going to be enough to go around. So you're going to see, all these people got vaccinated today. And then like a few days later, it'll be like, well, these other people wanted to get vaccinated, but we ran out of vaccinations. That's going to be like on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. So we're going to see a lot of that. Next topic, let's see. China will pose a threat to the U.S. and will not stop until they get what they want. I really see that Trump really screwed up that whole China thing. Without knowing very many details, I see that we will have to, like the trade war, we will have to pay. And I not like an out war, but they're going to be like, say uncle kind of, like there'll be some pressure from China. So they're going to get their way in some regard. But I see Biden really, despite what the Trump administration was trying to make everybody think about Biden, I really see that he's like really on top of his game. He'll be really on top of his game. It's like he's such a pro, having spent his whole life in public service. So we're going to see some surprising things. And the people that have supported, the Trump administration, they're going to start being quiet. It's kind of like when you're losing an argument, eventually you just walk away because you really can't win the argument. They're just going to start, fading away and walking away. One last thing is, I just jotted down a few things this morning. I see a ton of bickering and tensions with the oil companies, with the energy companies, because we really don't have any idea. I'm picking this up psychically, how many less regulations the polluters have. These, like the oil companies, the fracking, that's really bad for the environment. Coal, all that. I don't have the facts on this. I don't have the statistics, but they have been able to just run ramshod over the earth, basically, since this administration has done away with so many environmental regulations. I see lots of fighting in court. I see some big time fighting in court over the new regulations. I feel like the Biden administration is going to get in there and go, okay, that's it. Now we're going to get the EPA to be not corrupt, and we're going to get all these companies, these big polluters, to regulate. And eventually we will see more electric vehicles being pumped out, but that's not really the solution either. We'll see more public transit. A lot more public transit. I see those rail trains, those trains like at Disney World. What do they call those, trams?
Yeah, trams and monorails.
Yeah, I actually see that happening. They're showing me first it's going to start in a really big state. Maybe it's California. It's first going to start in a really big state. So I want to say too that, and I've said this to you before in the shows that we've done, I do get a lot of hit about the upcoming year, this time of year. And I had said that this year, like you remember, would be like a rickety roller coaster ride. And I don't think the guides could have described it any more, accurately than that. And even when I see the COVID graphs, they look like a roller coaster. You've seen them. They look like a roller coaster. And also just that, like, just always being jarred and not knowing if we're going to make it. So I just want to mention that I have seen these things, happen when I do predictions for the coming year. In the year 2000, I was interviewed by a Nashville paper, and so December 2000, and they asked me what I saw, and I said I was very afraid of 2001 because I saw a major event that would freak us all out, and I didn't know if it was a natural disaster or what, and we'd all be like, oh my God, that could have been me. September 11th happened. So I just felt like there would be something major, and I was really kind of scared going into 2001. That is documented somewhere, but it was such a long time ago. I think it might have been the Nashville scene. So let's pull some cards about the coming year.
Let's do it.
All right. So let's ask what's going to happen with this transition on Inauguration Day. I don't see Trump there. I actually see him being very busy online during that time. He's probably going to be doing this big tweet storm. I do see people showing up to protest the inauguration, but I see him being shut down too. Like, I feel like the security is going to really be on it. All right, so let's pick 3 cards about January 20th. All right. 1, 2. So January 20th, the sun goes from Capricorn to Aquarius. So now that we're in Aquarius, it actually makes sense that I saw all these explosions, because Aquarius is like the Tower card in the tarot, and that is things blowing up. Around inauguration, you know, we go from Capricorn to Aquarius, so it's going to feel like we're doing okay, and then there's going to be some shocking things that happen. I don't see violence. I see spectacles. I see people doing things just to make a spectacle, which is kind of copycatting Trump, because that's what he does. So there's going to be a lot of people looking for like photo ops and, you know, like memes and that kind of thing around that, based around that time. Okay, this is great, because I'm seeing, even though the moon card here indicates, can you see that? The moon card, that indicates deep emotions. It's going to be very, very, very intense around that time. There's going to be people, a lot of people will be afraid, but I want to encourage everyone to not stay steeped in the fear, because that doesn't help anything. The world is going to be watching. That's for sure. This is the world. It's going to get mega, mega attention from the rest of the world. And then I see the strength card. We are moving into a much stronger position. Much, much, much stronger. We will take charge. There's going to be more people getting involved. And the guides are saying, I mean, more people getting involved in helping with our government that are very capable. And the guides are saying there have been a lot of people waiting in the wings for their chance to step in and make a difference. Like brilliant people. We're going to see a lot of people that have been sort of waiting in the wings to do the jobs that need to be done, that will come out in full force. And that is actually going to make a big impact on the American citizens, where they see, we are getting our money. We are getting our stimulus. You know, people will start to get kind of like back on their horse and start riding again and feeling optimistic. The world is really looking to us. They're really looking to the United States to see how the world economy is going to go. I see so many world leaders cooperating with the Biden administration, like they've just been waiting and waiting and waiting, so we can get some things, you know, rolling for sure. So that's inauguration day. Looks like a good day. I mean, and when you think about the collective energy, like everybody watching and feeling like, oh, phew. Competency, professionals, people that use their brains, you know, people that have experience. We're going to put such value on that once we see the discrepancy between the way it's been and the way it can be, that's going to get a whole lot of people more on board with the Biden administration being in charge. Even the ones that voted for Trump that don't want to admit that they're relieved that all that is over. They won't say it. A lot of people won't say it, but they will feel it. And they will they'll reap the rewards too. It's like Biden said when he got elected in his acceptance speech, you know, I know it's not easy to lose, but I'm going to work for you too, those that didn't vote for him. So that's actually going to be, you know, a hard pill to swallow for his supporters. But after some time, when they see their financial situations improve, people will be more united. I'm not saying it's going to happen like without a lot of tumultuousness, but it will get better. We'll get more unified. Nothing's perfect, but at least we're going to be going in a good direction. Right now, we're not going in any direction.
Well, obviously, the two giant stories of 2020 were the transition of power in the U.S., with the election, obviously, and COVID. So a question, Annette, would be, at what point do we start seeing more light than tunnel?
More light? That's funny. You asked that question, and this card was just staring at me. See the light? Right away. Particularly in February. Something's going to happen in February where we're all going to be like, oh, I'm so glad if Joe Biden was in office. I don't really know what it is, but it seems COVID related in February, so a couple months. I do see that there will be light starting around then. It's interesting too, because it's like right around the time that we're just starting to feel like spring is coming. Not when it's spring, but just like in the Wiccan calendar, it's called Imbolc around February 2nd, which is around Groundhog Day. That's the time of the year that, you know, we see the light starting to really come back. So I think sooner rather than later. You mean with COVID, or you mean just with everything?
Generally, yeah.
With everything. Yeah, you're going to feel that. That's what I was talking about. It was like, we're going to see people get on board that we thought would never get on board with working together in this country. And the guys are showing me too that some of these Republicans, no, they're saying all of them. All of the Republicans who stood behind Trump and all his criminality they're all going. Mitch McConnell will be gone. I see Mitch McConnell being indicted for something really big around him. Oh, and there was, this channel is for educational purposes only. What do we say? Based on my opinion only.
Yeah, we need our disclaimers.
Okay, that's my disclaimer. It's based on my opinion only, and not based on facts. Mitch McConnell did not win legitimately, nor did Lindsey Graham. I said that from as soon as that election was done in November. He and Lindsey Graham, they cheated. They cheated. They did. But like Matt Gaetz and Collins and who's there? There was Jim Johnson. No, they are all going. They're gonna get voted right out.
Well, Annette, let me ask you this, because this has come up a lot during our shows too, is the fine line that you have to dance when it comes to politics and psychic readings, because you know immediately once you open your mouth, half the folks out there are going to want to turn you off.
The risk we have to take, right? There'll be more folks on board. That's what I'm saying. There will be more that are in agreement. I had a friend a long time ago. I was fighting a development. You know which one. Back in 2006. And he said to me, my friend Greg, said, because we were fighting so hard to save this area. And then it went through and we were all kind of heartbroken because they had to clear the woods and everything for this huge development. And Greg said to me, he said, just wait. Now they don't agree with you, but like someday they'll be looking at you and they'll be saying, yeah, you know what? You were right. We're going to see a lot of that. I know there was a video that we did before and there was somebody who said, oh, you just said the so-called president, I'm done. And she left. I don't care. Like, we can share our opinions. We have free speech still, right? If somebody doesn't agree with you, they can just like agree to disagree. We're not like hate each other because of it. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of people who you didn't think would agree with what's being said, either agree and not admit it or just change sides. We are going to see people changing sides. Actually, it's going to be cool to be smart again. Cool to be smart in the right measure.
Well, so Annette, have we gone to the good news yet for 2021?
Did I not say any good news? Come
no,
on.
You did. But
I try to couch everything in the positive.
Yeah.
Good things for 2021. I think the environment is going to get a big boost. I think the environment is going to be first and foremost. And I see a time that trees will be like revered. Like, oh, don't cut that tree. Like, you know, maybe not this year, but we're going to be heading towards a time where we actually recognize that we have to take care of our environment. We have to take care of the planet or we're done. You know, I just see huge progress like Greenpeace and, you know, like there's organizations that have been ignored for a long time that are fighting for the environment that will get the attention that they need. I mean, the fires in California and the record hurricane season are not going to be overlooked. It's not going to be like, you know, Trump was sitting at that meeting about the fires and going, oh, well, science doesn't know. You know, we're not going to be seeing any of that. We'll actually be getting more facts and less of people seeing something right in their face and going, it's not there. That's not going to be happening anymore. Not en masse. You know, there's always going to be some people on the fringe that are just kind of troublemakers. But we've got a lot of, we lost a lot of people this year. You know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, John Lewis, and the list is really, really long. John Prine, you know, I just, there's so many. But those souls, but John McCain, that was last year. Elijah Cummings might have been last year. But those souls who have crossed over, they, and actually, believe it or not, so many people, so many souls that died from COVID, that's actually, it was kind of like a soul contract. Now I'm speaking from metaphysics. I'm speaking from a completely, you know, different perspective. It's horrible they suffered. And when you look at our souls all choose the kind of life that we'll have, a lot of those souls who have crossed over are now working as angels that are helping us. So we have way more help coming from the other side than we ever really have. I mean, we have lost so many people to COVID, but it's not like their energy just dissipates. They go to the spiritual realm and they're helping people. They're helping us. They're going to help us to come together as a nation. They're going to help us to come together and to work together and to stop hating each other. I know that sounds really like idealistic, but that's really what I do see. We're going to see a lot of internet stars. And what I mean by that is we're going to see people have their own programs. And I want to be on that list where it's like takes the place of TV. You know, the internet takes, like YouTube becomes like, I don't know, when TVs first came out, you know, it was the big thing that everybody was watching different, you know, programs on TV. It's going to be like individuals that don't have a lot of money, or they just start their own thing and then they become famous. They become internet stars strictly through starting something during the pandemic. There are a lot of them right now. There's one, David Pakman. He's actually from Boston. He has a political YouTube channel that's humongous. We're going to see a lot of internet stars. So there's that.
Internet stars, but will there be any internet regulation or big tech regulation?
Yeah, but no, it's not going to be easy to regulate.
No.
There will be some, but I think we're going to get better at discerning the truth from alternate facts. I do see that there's going to be more maybe laws in place and guidelines in place that will make it easier for us to tell if something is false. Like what Twitter started doing with their disclaimer, like this, go to this for the real information. They do that with Trump's tweets. This might not be true kind of thing. I don't know what they call it, disclaimer or something. We're going to see a lot more regulation like that. But as far as like, you'll be able to say or do whatever you want, basically, but there'll be more tags of, you know, beware, this might not be true. There'll be more of that. So that's a type of regulation.
All right, Annette, we have under 10 minutes now to go. Do you want to throw some topics at you, or do you want to touch upon anything on your own?
Throw some topics at me. That works. Okay,
one topic is food insecurity.
That's not going to be a problem. Now, let me tell you something. I'm just going to tell you a personal situation. There was a time in my life where I ran out of money. I had no food. And there are things that I could do to get food. But I really got clear, and I was just like, I'm just going to not worry about it and see what shows up. Do you know what? I never went hungry. Not for a second. Someone would be like, hey, you want to come over and eat? Or, hey, you want to... Here, I have an extra half a sandwich. You know, like, it didn't last long, but I'm just saying, it's what we feel that creates the conditions that show up. So when people watch the news and they see all these food lines and they see all these food shortages, there's so much food on the planet that it gets thrown away. Farmers throw it away. It's like, this was happening in Maine at the start of the pandemic when all the restaurants closed. There was an abundance of potatoes. I think they had to throw them away. There'll be plenty of food. The distribution is going to be a problem. Think about all the grocery stores that want something is a day past the expiration date. What are they doing? That's going to change. They're throwing it out. And it's perfectly good. That's going to change. I see food insecurity based on people looking at certain facts and not looking at, if I have an intention that I'll be able to have food, I can figure it out and I can make it happen. Even if it's going to the food bank, there's no need to be ashamed of being food insecure. People have to get over that. We all go through it. We've all been there. You know, the average person, I don't mean like Trump, you know. We've all been in pretty much, you know, almost everyone in situations that felt like food insecurity. But I just want people to stop worrying about it. Now, I do, you know, by the same token, I want to say that we do have to, and I'm glad I'm picking up on the good energy about the environment. We do have to take care of our topsoil, because the way, you know, the whole, you know, industrial farming model is not going to work anymore. So we need to go back to farming without fungicides and herbicides and, you know, massive amounts of pesticides, and we need to stop like destroying the topsoil, because soil is actually a living organism, and we'll have to go back to that, because I don't see food insecurity. I don't see people dying of hunger. But as far as the long-term planning for food security for, you know, future generations, we will have to get a handle on that. We're not going to have people starving to death in America. And the people that starve in Africa, that's bad. That's a food distribution issue. If the governments weren't so screwed up, those people would be fed. You know, there's plenty of food.
All right, another topic is, will the stimulus stimulate?
Yes, but it won't be till like the end of January, February, because when Biden gets in, he's going to make it happen. And you know, it's our money. When people start to educate themselves about what's going on with government, you know, I just heard that Steve Mnuchin took a private jet to Mexico with his family, a private jet to Mexico for a holiday with his family. And Pence went to Vail, Colorado, and Trump went to Mar-a-Lago, right? And they're just like, let them eat cake. Or, I don't know, peanuts. We'll get the stimulus. That's another thing. There's plenty of money. And I know people are going to be like, oh, I can't believe she's saying that. She doesn't know how it is. I can just hear it. It's plenty of money. There's so much money on the planet that can't be counted. And that goes for food too. There's so much food you can't even take a food inventory. So let's get out of the fear. Now, the whole, you know, I do see a Great Depression coming, right? People ate in the Great Depression. They might have been in the food line, but still. The Great Depression that's coming is going to be short, and it's going to restructure everything. This is an interesting time that we live in. This is an historic time. Well, I think we've all kind of come to that conclusion. We've never seen a pandemic like this. The Spanish flu pandemic was not as bad as this. Well, there were less people then, right? The economy will, you know, the Great Depression is going to pale by comparison to what's coming. But all these structures that have been in place forever are breaking down for a reason. They're getting rearranged. Our whole world is changing. If you cannot adapt to change, learn how to adapt to change, because nothing's going to be the same. 5 years from now, education will be different. Medicine will be different. Spirituality will be different. Believe it or not, a lot of people are going to jump on the spiritual bandwagon, because the bridge between science and spirituality will be crossed, and they will merge. That's already starting to happen. So all this woo-woo, you know, people think I don't know what I'm talking about, and some people think I'm crazy, and you know, all this woo-woo is going to be like woo-woo. Like, oh, all that woo-woo with the eye roll. Oh, you know, that's interesting. That's going to start happening. So all the ancient wisdom will be kind of rising back up again. Mm-hmm. The witches return.
2 more topics, Annette. Okay. Go ahead. One is, will more people be leaving cities now that everyone's working remotely? Are they looking for better school systems, or they don't have to stay in a city to live anymore? We saw a big drop off. Will that continue?
Absolutely. people are going to want to get back to the earth. We're seeing it happen where we live. We're going to have some huge problems on this island because people want to get away from the cities, and we're kind of like, we're on the outskirts of Boston. They're wanting to come. I just told you earlier, I was by the beach and it was mobbed. It's December 28th. So people are going to be moving to the coast, although the coasts are going to have a really big problem with sea level rising. I see massive amounts of people migrating to Maine, to rural Maine, rural Vermont, rural Dakotas. I just see, lots and lots. It's a good question. Lots and lots of that.
Very cool. Okay, thank you for that. All right, and final question, Annette, as we close out on 2020.
Final question.
And look towards 2021. What are you most hopeful about for 2021?
This new generation. Because I see people in that age group that I mentioned, 18, it's like 23, 24, and up. But mostly, the next generation, the young adults now, will not stand for, in general, they won't stand for racism. They won't stand for destroying our planet. They won't stand for it. They won't stand for corruption in government. They won't. And they're going to start to come up. They're just starting to come of voting age and then the drinking age. And they're just starting to come up in the world as adults, as influential members of our society. Pete Buttigieg, however you say his name, Mayor Pete, is going to kind of lead the way. I see him leading the way. I wouldn't be surprised if he became president one day. I think Kamala Harris will be the next president. I don't see Trump coming back to rerun for president. So you didn't ask that, but I'm just saying. That gives me hope too. I don't think he's going to be here. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
I don't. I think he's going to suffer some bad health issues. I see something with Joe Biden, but it's not going to be dire. It's not going to be sprayed in his foot. There's going to be something that make people go, ooh, I hope he's going to be okay. But I see that as not a big deal. So, at first I'll be like, oh, that could have been bad. But I do see that this year. It might just be all the stress, but I don't think Trump is going to make it till 2024. But it's the younger generation that gives me hope. It's the Black Lives Matter movement that gives me hope. Even though people feel like, oh, maybe it really didn't do that much. It's kind of incremental. So that gives me hope too. Greta Thunberg, like getting the whole world mobilized, especially that young generation, getting people mobilized to stop global warming, to take the climate seriously. I see technology that will clean up the plastics, and I also see bans on plastic, which I don't know if that's going to go into effect this year, but it's going to work. The awareness will be really raised, and there's not going to be as much hidden. So, oh my God, with the new presidency, way better. It's not going to be like peaches and cream. No way is it going to be easy, but at least it's going to feel like we have somebody capable. Not just him. I said all along, all year before the election, I said, you have to think of Joe Biden as a figurehead. He is the one that's going to be this placeholder. You remember it was during one of our shows. He's the placeholder. It's the people that have been waiting in the wings with all their expertise and genius, watching horrified at what's gone on the past 4 years, that are chomping at the bit to get back to work, to get in there and do what they know they can do well. That gives me a lot of hope. I'm glad you asked the question, because now I feel like, oh, it's going to be a great year.
Well, finally, Annette, do you want to draw any cards for 2021?
Yes, let's do that. Let's pick 3 cards, calling on the guides. Oh, and if you want to know how your year is going to be, get in touch with me. On New Year's Day, I often do a few hours of half-price readings. I'm thinking about it right now. So yeah, get in touch. You might get in, or anybody out there who might get in on that. Mm-hmm. All right, so 3 cards for 2021. The guides are going, this is a dawning of the age of Aquarius. Yeah, the guides sing. The That's what I'm getting. It will be like, I don't know if you're familiar with the musical Hair, you know, it's funny. It's going to be like the 1960s. Maybe it's going to be like the 1960s with the protests and, you know, like people speaking out. We're going to lose some really important musical, big people, like people that are wicked famous.
Well, I already lost Eddie Van Halen. How much more can I take?
Oh, that was big. It's like that. Oh, that was hard. I love when he put the picture of his like guitar up there. Like that. Like when they go, you'll just be no. Wow. I'm not going to mention names.
Good.
We all got to go eventually, you know, and we really do have to face that. And also, you know, death is easier to accept. It's never easy, obviously, but it's easier to accept. In a huge way, it's easier if you are in touch with the spiritual realm. Because I do mediumship, and I can't tell you how many things come through. They just come blabbering out of my mouth, and I don't know what I'm talking about. The person's like, they almost fell off their chair because it's like something they had together with that person. Like a joke or some kind of like a memory or something. So, yeah, we're going to lose some people, but oh well. Okay, so this year, this is Kamala, and it's interesting. It came up as Queen of Swords and Knight of Swords. It's not the King of Swords. This is interesting. This is Joe and Kamala, but guess who has the upper hand? The Queen. It's her prosecutor background. She's going to be making headlines. In fact, I think I was meditating today, and I had a vision of her getting up at the podium and saying something really important, but I didn't get what it was that was really important that she was saying. It just seemed really, maybe it was her first speech or something, but definitely she's at the White House. So the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords, we are going to see leadership, and we're going to notice it. We're going to be like, oh, so this is what leadership looks like, because we've had no leadership for 4 years, and it's going to be really impactful. Like I said, most people will be like, this is so much better, even if they didn't vote for them. And then this is the karma card. See, now this is not easy because we're going to have a lot of karma coming back around. It's, you know, for this country, it's not going to be easy. We've kind of had it coming to us. We haven't been very good doobies around the world for a long time. But we do a lot of good, but still, there's some bad mixed in. But the karma card, this is talking about all the criminality, too, that's going to be called out. People will be going to jail. It's going to be like dominoes. You're going to see like, he did that and he did that too. And in one of my Psychic News Network videos, I said, when you start to see the crimes that come out and how much money this administration has stolen from the American people, that's probably what's going to get the people that were on that side to switch sides to the Democratic side. The Republican Party, I see pretty much falling apart, and something new coming. But that might be longer than a year out. But the karma card is saying, you know, people have been asking me all year, when is it gonna get him? Even though I didn't see jail, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I even see Pence really in some big trouble. So this is the karma card. You know, and I have to tell people, you know, big karma takes longer to come back. What goes around comes around. That is a universal law. You can't really get around that one. So be careful what you dish out there, Kory. You're in good shape. You're in good shape.
You're going to put up another disclaimer now for this, Annette.
You do a lot of good. You do a lot of good for people. This will be the year of sharing and caring. That just popped in. It'll be the year of sharing and caring. That's nice. Thank you. That's good. I like that. Sharing and caring.
Well, her name is Annette Dion, and she is a psychic based in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And Annette, if people want to find you on YouTube, how can they do that?
On YouTube?
Is that the Psychic News Network?
The Psychic News Network is on Facebook.
Oh, there you go. So you can follow Annette there. And then, of course, we'll have Annette's videos here at Bridge Cape Ann. And we've been doing this for a long time now. We haven't done one of these spectaculars. Yeah. All year long.
Yeah. Happy anniversary almost. I think we started in January.
Yeah, just before COVID hit. So yeah, it's been a fun year in that regard, doing the show with you. Other than that, this year was a tire fire. But
I know. We started at a restaurant and then we had to switch it up.
yeah.
Well, it's been a big learning curve. I mean, I've had to teach myself how to. I basically set up a TV studio in my office. That wasn't easy. I'm not a techie.
Well, I'm looking forward to 2021. Looking forward to get 2020 in the rearview mirror and turn the corner here, and hopefully we get a leg up on COVID, and there's a more peaceful transition of power than we're expecting, and then we'll see what happens then. But I mean, first and foremost, we got to get people out and about living their lives like they used to live them. And,
well, we didn't really talk about that, but I see people wearing masks all year, but it might not be to the degree that it is right now. Yeah. As far as having dances and going to bars and, you know, sweating, dancing like sardines and squished together, that's going to be a while.
We love those days.
I know. I'm waxing all nostalgic. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a safe and happy 2021, and I'm looking forward to our next show together. And folks, if you want to talk to Annette, whether it's for New Year's resolutions or New Year's Eve or the new year, there is her contact information. Hit her up and follow her on all of her social outlets. And we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Happy 2021, everyone.
Have fun. Drink some champagne for me.